develops than an adult develops. Say, I like as a child, you have more time now, but for example, in my profession, I work extremely hard for 3 months or for a year, and then I don't for another between jobs. So I do have time. Is my brain less able than a child's brain to master chess? If I were to make it my obsession after October obsession, November, where I will have perhaps 1 year of time to do as I please for 1 year, so I can do whatever. If I, is it a losing proposition, or is the child already beating me, or what can happen if I just say, okay, here are Igor's courses, $709, Igor's courses, all of the boxes, and here is the board, and here's my food, and this is my, and I gotta balance my life. I will have exercise. I'm not gonna go crazy, but I will master this. Is it gonna work, or am I just doomed because I'm 37?
Well, first of all, you have a nice job, Juan. Secondly, I think that's another common stereotype that children can progress easier, faster, that only they can really digest it very well at an early age, while if you're an adult, it's already too late. My experience proves an opposite thing. I have a lot of adult students. Some of them play really as a hobby. They don't want to become the world champion, just they want to have some fun, to play an intelligent game, maybe to meet new friends and so forth. And I noticed that actually adults can progress very quickly. The one difference you just highlighted, it's the fact that kids, they simply have more free time. That's one problem for adults. If you have to feed your family, to work very hard, of course you don't have a lot of free time. But there is definitely no obstacles for an adult to progress. I would say even opposite. Adults sometimes can progress faster. Chess is basically a strategical game, and strategical thinking develops with age. It develops better. So for the mature person, it is easier to digest some concepts. Little kids, they usually play more tactically, and it works at some level. But normally, in order to be really strong, you need to be a good strategist. And that is more common amongst adults. So I would say that,
okay.
that yes, Juan, you have good chances. I would not recommend you to become so much obsessed and to avoid any other things in life. Of course, if you have so many free time, perhaps you can allocate it to different things.
But chess is life. Who said that, Bobby Fischer? Chess is life.
Well, really, the greatest players, they dedicate their life to it. That's true. And I think, again, this would be the same for any kind of a person in any area who achieved tremendously great results. They dedicate their life to it. On the contrary, I would say that if we take a look at some great players who still have fun from the game, who don't forget that chess is a game, after all, it's a game. It was supposed to bring you joy. And if you keep this positive mood while playing, if you go at a tournament at the same time where you want to just have some fun along the way, then you will definitely get much more pleasure from this process. And you will achieve all those things that you want, but simultaneously you will have a smile on your face. You won't be that much serious. Like some players, if you look at them, their hands are shaking, they are too nervous, they have that big red face, it's a pity to look at them. So I think that if you take it easy, if you still try to have fun while playing, it would also help you to progress easier.
Yeah, I think I would actually be really scared to play against the guy who's smiling at me or smiling while he plays. I had not thought of that.
Is something in the middle of the day, or has it happened to you that you are in a situation outside of chess, and all of a sudden it's a chess situation, and you like, for example, in a strategy, normal strategy, somebody says sit down, and you sit, or you say fuck you. I mean, there's two choices, or you say, or you don't, or ignore. Three choices: confront, ignore, obey. Has it ever happened to you in a situation where you're in a normal situation and then you realize I have options? I am not bound by the situation as it's presented to me. I have options, and this is just like, okay, rook here, and you just switch your reaction. Has that ever happened to you?
I wouldn't say that I really think like that, that in a real life situation I think like which move I would play in an analogical situation at a chessboard. But I would agree with you that that's true. Of course, the general skills, because chess helps you to find the right move. And that's very good. For example, the skill to compare different lines that you have, different options. First of all, to realize all of them, then to evaluate consequences, to compare the ultimate result of each possible direction, and then to choose the best. So when you're at a branching point, how to choose the best move to do. This skill comes from chess very well. It is developed very well, and it helps in life for sure, pretty often in many situations. I would also say that there is a very close analogy with war and with business, because business is a commercial war. I even knew some players who study chess specifically to improve their results in business. I had some students who were very, very successful businessmen, multimillionaire, and they learned chess secretly. They didn't expose that, just they wanted to have those additional skills and knowledge that would help them to make right decisions and to outplay their competitors.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
Nice. That reminds me of The Godfather, and in general, there's so many lines you can hear everywhere that relate to chess. It sounds like you can relate anything to chess. What comes to mind from The Godfather is a line where he says, you should be close to your friends, but closer to your enemies. And to me, is that, okay, when you're playing a game of chess, you really need to see what's going on with his side of the board more than maybe my side of the board. And there's so many ways to interpret a game of chess. The typical ways are black against white, a war going on, what you were mentioning before, a business also. Is there any other out there way to think of chess that maybe it's not that typical and we have never thought of, instead of those typical like antagonistic way of seeing it in general?
Thank you for the question, Ron. I think that's a very wise and prudent question. Really, the problem that I see in some of the modern players is that they are focused too much on the moves itself, and they a little bit forget that chess game is a model. When you just move the wooden pieces on the board, it doesn't really change something dramatically in life. But if you consider it as a tool that can help you to develop yourself and also to understand better life, to understand some universal principles that will work in any kind of situation, then of course it can bring you a lot of useful things. I would completely agree with you. Chess is a model of war, which is pretty obvious because there are two armies which combat between each other. This is also a very close analogy with business, as I said before, and basically an analogy with any so to say, with any collision, any kind of communication between different forces where you want to be on top, which happens everywhere in life. So taking your example from The Godfather, of course, if we say about more serious works, I can say, for example, Sun Tzu, the Chinese philosopher of the past. Maybe my pronunciation is wrong. I don't know the original pronunciation of his name. He wrote the book The Art of War, which also has a lot of ideas which...
Oh, Lao Tzu.
Yeah. Well, he's also a wise man, but I was talking about another guy. Which are applicable at any aspect of life. And that's what we can learn from chess.
And continuing with that idea, which piece on the board do you feel identified with? In my case, I'm the pawn. I like to be the lowly pawn there going to war. The first ones who go there sacrifice themselves for the other pieces. Who are you? Are you the king, the queen maybe, the bishop? Do you feel identified with any piece or any style of play? Sorry, the question's too crazy.
Well, I understand your choice. So initially, if you're a pawn, then you want to go the whole way till the end and be promoted to become the greatest, the strongest piece in the end.
So it's the rocky piece, right? The pawn is rocky.
Yeah, it has the greatest potential amongst any other piece. Well, it's not that I really identify myself with any of the piece, but from the time when I was a kid, I liked the knight. You can show it. This one, you can see it. because that's just a masterpiece. The holes, it's very nice, very interesting, and it can do a lot of tricks, a lot of sudden moves, and a lot of combinations. It involves the knight specifically. That's why I like it.
Nice.
I have two questions, and the one that Rod knows which one is, but the one before that is, it has to do with this obsession idea. And why is chess so obsessive? Why are people so obsessed? If I think about obsession, I think about two things. I think about women buying shoes and men playing chess. Those are the easy two images that come immediately to mind. Why is chess associated with obsession? Why is this? What do you think is this?
People enjoy accepting challenges because that is something that allows you to test yourself and to see your real skills, your real abilities. And then when you're challenged, you want to win. Chess gives you this possibility all the time. That's what I like in chess a lot. Because in other professions, yeah, you also try to achieve some goals, but it's not always so easy to compare your results, to evaluate if you're progressing or not. Let's say you're making different documentary, okay, and how to evaluate which one is better. Do you really progress compared with your previous work? It's hard. It's hard to say that, yeah. But in chess, this is very objective. You're playing the game, and you know if your moves are right or wrong, if you won or you're lost. You have the rating, which shows you your power. This is very objective, and you have this constant and immediate feedback, which shows you whether you are on the right way or not. And you can then adjust your movement forward. If you see that you're wrong, you can try to go back on the right track. That is a very, very nice thing about chess. If we talk psychologically about this obsession, then if you're lost, of course, you want to change that. You want to win. At the same time, if you won, then you want to develop your success, right? And then no matter what is the result of the game, anyway, it motivates you to continue. That's how this obsession appears.
What is that one or two piece of advice that you tell mortals like me that are starting out that radically, let me preface that. When I was a young kid, one time an old friend of mine said one thing that helped me win many games. And not against big players, but kids. So he said, of every piece, make sure anytime you move that it is protected. And then I just, as a little kid, I took that idea, that simple idea, just one idea, and I won the games after game, maybe 3 games, not against big players, but there was just this key. I no longer was thinking about winning the game. I was thinking about protecting my pieces. I moved them. Are there other metaphors or ideas that people just, obviously it's not going to work anytime, but it's a good metaphor for you to get better in chess?
I can extend an idea that previously was exposed by Rod when he quoted Godfather, and there they said that you need to keep your friends close and keep your enemies even closer. And then Rod said that it can be applicable for seeing different territories, that you need to pay attention to your territory, that's right, but you need to pay even closer attention to the territory of your opponent. That's one idea which I believe is very, very important, and it can help you a lot. What usual players do, they see at their army, and they start thinking which move they can do, how they can move any of these pieces, which piece must make a move and where it can go. They are focused on their own army. That's the most common approach. But there is another approach, which is much easier and much more effective. Instead of looking at your territory, you look at the territory of your opponent. And then you ask yourself the question, how can you move there and make some attack, make some damage to him? Because you see, here you change the focus. You first look at the goal, and then you ask yourself, how can you achieve that? And then you have this direct focus. You don't need to consider every possible move, because you already have the focus. And you will only consider 1 or 2 moves that can possibly bring you to this goal. That's why it's a lot easier, and you can find the right moves sometimes within a few seconds.
I think
Very nice. Sorry.
That fits our metaphor. We've spoken to this about in any obsessive and positive obsessive endeavor. One advice we got from Sugar Seegerman from South Africa. No, this was from Mac Dojo, New York guy. He said, picture success. Just start with that. And I think you mentioned earlier that the stress of moving a piece. If you fear failure, or if you picture failure, if failure is part of your vantage point, every move you make is painful because you don't want to move, because every move you make is getting you closer to failure. That is a mindset also in life, as I think depression many times comes from that, in which you've already pictured failure as of your endeavor, of your life, or of your marriage, or of your new addiction. And every move is painful. I don't want to move. I mean, the obvious response to that is I'm going to stay in bed. But I think what I love about the way you're picturing it is you're taking away that stress and you're just turning it around, and that allows me to actually picture success, because you're saying you're not pushing, you're pulling pieces. It's a wonderful way of playing life, because if you're pulling pieces from a point of view of success, you just it's beautiful. I find it very useful.
Thank you. I can tell you one more idea. Not sure if you are looking for it or not. If we talk about this topic about obsession and success in general, there are a lot of different techniques that helps you to raise your self-confidence, to set goals, to visualize something, to try to achieve your success in life or in business or whatever. They all are smart techniques, and I believe that this is very important, as well as the project that you do right now. I also think that this is very important. It will motivate a lot of people to achieve bigger results. That is great, and thank you for that. At the same time, I see there is one crucial drawback of all those motivational techniques, because they basically tell you to take that motivation from scratch. They just tell you that you need to set some goals for yourself. Okay, pick them on the wall, visualize them, whatever. But in any case, there is a question: why do you have those goals? Why do you really want to achieve them? You can't trick yourself. You can present those goals to others, but if you don't really believe in them inherently, they will not motivate you, right? If we talk about obsession, the main thing is the motivation. Will it really drive you? Let's make an easy example. Let's say this is a winter, the early morning, you're lying in your bed, you're tired, you don't really want to wake up, and at this moment, you need to say to yourself something that will motivate you to wake up and to start acting actively, to work hard. What will it be? Here you can't trick yourself. If this is something real, something that really drives your life, you will not be able to continue lying in the bed. You will wake up immediately and will start acting and going for your dream. But only if this is something real, something that you believe inherently. That's why I think that if we talk about the real motivation, it should be based on your personal philosophy, on what you believe is important in life. Otherwise, if you just take this goal artificially, if you just say that I want $1 million or $1 billion or whatever, I want that car, that is not something that goes from inside. That is something that you rather set for yourself artificially, but that will not work because that will not motivate you.
So it's like the movie Inception. You're looking for that image inside of you that's true, and once you find that image, you are going towards it. You're pulling towards it. It's a great metaphor. Rod, do you have a question before the last question?
Yeah, I actually have one more. In the game, there's so much ego involved. I'm really immature, and I remember when I actually won a game, I felt, okay, awesome. I'm smarter than you. I'm the best in the world. You suck. I beat you. I'm more intelligent. I saw more things than you did. I'm the best. But when I lost, I felt like, oh, I'm stupid. This guy beat me. I made so many mistakes. I suck. Sincerely, what do you feel when you actually win? How much ego is involved there? How much of that adrenaline actually involves the obsession with the game? Actually winning and feeling that you are in a way, at least during that game, superior to your solo opponent.
That is definitely right. There is a lot of ego involved, as you said. There are different approaches. I know that all of the players, they face this problem. They need to address it somehow. They solve it differently. Some try to be the most aggressive. They try to motivate themselves for success, for achieving the best, and for hating even their opponent like that. That's one possible approach. But personally, I prefer an opposite thing. I prefer more philosophical attitude. Let me tell you one quick story from another area, from martial arts, from karate. That is a real story, by the way. There was the World Championship in karate, and there was the final fight between two finalists, and one of them, he won that battle. And he started to scream and shout, to say that I'm the greatest, to express his happiness very openly. And also he started to be abusive towards his opponent and all that kind of things. And after that, the coach of that man who won that world championship, he just rejected him from the school completely. He told him to the student that you became the world champion, but you did not understand anything. You did not understand the main thing, that in karate you're not competing with other people. You're trying to develop yourself. You're trying to become better with your every next fight. And your opponents, those are the guys who are risking their health to help you to challenge yourself and to achieve greater results.
Nice.
That's a great metaphor. Excellent metaphor.
Yeah, I think we're ready for the last question. That's a great place to leave it at.
Igor, we are heading towards the middle of our solar system. And there is the galaxy and the universe. We don't know if it has a center, but we do know our solar system has a center, which is the sun. We've changed directions. And my question, actually, no, we're into the middle of the universe. We were heading to the sun, but it would have been uncomfortable. And our spaceship is running outside. It's about to lose contact with Earth because it's too far. And we're talking to the best experts in all fields. We're talking to musicians. We're talking to brain scientists. We're talking to entrepreneurs. We're talking with the shoe buyers. And, of course, we're talking with chess masters. Russian chess masters, which I think it has this kind of mystical quality to it. What piece of advice would you give us obsessives as we pursue our true goal? And we are already in the spaceship. It's 2,500 obsessives. Rod and I are on that spaceship. What can you tell us? What would you think is going to help us in our journey in our lives, which we have committed to this obsession?
I will a little bit drive back to the idea that I've told you previously. I think that you need to start from the very beginning. It's very nice that you were talking about the outer space. So first of all, you need to have your philosophy of what you think a life is and what your goal in life is. After that, you can very easily answer the question, what are more specific goals that you have in life? If you know the ultimate purpose of your life, then you will understand the more specific steps to achieve that goal, the sub-goals, so to speak. You will understand them very easily. And when it will become your inherent desire, it will come out naturally. You will not be able not to pursue that. It will be very motivational, and you will definitely have a lot of success there. And the final advice, which I can also give using an example of a game of chess, is that we shouldn't forget that this whole thing is just a game, and it's supposed to bring us some joy and fun along the way. Let's not forget about that. While concording all those new territories and achieving new goals, it would be nice to have a smile on our face and to keep enjoying the game.
And I actually have one corollary question. If you were going to play Dostoevsky versus Lermontov, who do you think would win and why?
I think that they are both very wise persons, and the wise person, he is always learning from his opponents. So I think that ultimately they both will be winners in this battle.
Excellent, Igor. October Obsession with Igor from Russia. He's a chess master, and thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you for inviting me. Good luck on your project. I'm sure it will help people a lot. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks, man. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.